Yes, good morning and welcome. This is indeed Power Breakfast right here on Citizen TV, and it's that time we take a look at the headlines we take a look at the news headlines this morning. And today we're very privileged to have Governor Ken Lusaka from Bungoma County as one of our panelists. Karibu sana Bwana Governor.
Asante sana.
We also have Chris Omalo, a very familiar face on this panel, MP from Kiminini. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
As we continue with our news review, of course, we're hoping to be joined by two more gentlemen. Let's hope they're on their way and they'll get to join us and discuss a lot more headlines with us. But now, of course, a quick look at some of the biggest headlines, and Bwana Chris Omalo insists that I have to look at this one on the Star. Isaac Ruto to join NASA this weekend. I know this one makes you smile, but we are yet to see this. The keyword here is to join. So Isaac Ruto to join NASA this weekend. Kanu is also reported to be gravitating towards a new opposition outfit, and its Secretary General Nick Salat has confirmed he will attend the Bomet rally. That Bomet rally everyone is waiting for it. That's the Star. A quick look at the Standard. Details of new salary raise for civil servants. Now this, even if it is not political, this is one of the stories that I'm sure will create a lot of buzz today. The over 600,000 civil servants will get to enjoy better pay beginning July this year. Now, according to the grades there from B1 to E4, they've actually the lowest paid who had been earning 11,000 will be earning 14,442. Very interesting there. On the Daily Nation, Raila Uhuru clash over rigging claims. Another big story coming from yesterday following claims by opposition chief Raila Odinga that the IEBC is using fake ID numbers to register strangers as voters. Down there on the front page of the Daily Nation, we have President to drug ring, your days are over. Of course, in reference to the Akasha brothers and the two other foreigners. The four gentlemen, of course, were extradited to the US to face drug charges earlier this week. We'll be discussing a lot more, and I'm sure viewers would want to listen to a few things that the governor will have to say with regard to his position. Is he still in Jubilee? Has he moved back to the opposition? What is happening? We'll be discussing that a little bit later, so hold your horses. Let's now discuss these first headlines here, and let's start with the civil servant salary. When a governor, I'm sure at the county level you're dealing with a lot of issues in terms of pay packs for doctors, nurses and all these things, but the SRC has been blamed for failure here and there, but it appears they finally come up with something probably at the national level to handle civil servants. Is this something you hope to actually get to devolve to the county level as well?
Yeah, I think it should. This is very, very nice, and I'm happy because my background is a civil servant. I've been a civil servant, and I know what it means when you're talking about salary. And what I want to credit the SRC is having carried out an analysis to establish what people really do to be able to be paid, because in the past, you know, people would just be paid and it was not based on anything. But I think they carried out a survey throughout the country to establish what you should earn and based on what you are getting. So I think this is good news for civil servants. Should be able to motivate them to even work hard, because service delivery is what is most important. Even as we sit as governors at the top of the counties, services must be delivered by people who are motivated, people who are going really to deliver the manifestos that we are talking about. So I think this is quite...
And if you look at the grading there on the front page of the Standard, the lowest has been earning 11,000 shillings. Between 11,000 to 14,000, yet the highest will be earning between 292,000 to 576,000 civil servants. Do you understand probably E4 grade? What kind of a public servant is that?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say that in line with our constitution, the SRC, its core mandate is to harmonize salaries, and you can only harmonize salaries through a process called job evaluation. One thing I want to say is this has been long overdue. This is a commission which has actually been sleeping on the job. The strikes we have been having all over the country is because we did not have a remuneration policy in place. And this commission has been sleeping on the job because they are supposed to have put a policy. So we want to say that yes, well done, but it's coming very, very late. But as we move on, you know, in terms of the public service, this plays a very critical role in the economy of any country. And this harmonization of salaries is actually very critical. But looking at the amount of money that they are paying the lowest, we are talking about these people who work in offices like messengers, the tea girls. When you look at the economy right now, that amount of money is actually insignificant. You know, like when you live in Nairobi, how much rent are you going to pay? Even in the slums, payment of rent now per month, you can't get anything less than 6,000. You need to put in basic needs, issues of clothing, food. So you find that they are surviving from hand to mouth. So to me, that increment is actually insignificant, looking at the lifestyle, the way it is. The cost of living in this country is very, very high. So really, it's a drop in the ocean. But we congratulate them. At least they have put something in place that maybe can be improved on as time go by. And it's also the highest time that in the government there are so many wastages. So they must look for in the entire supply chain to see the wastages. You remember last time we were discussing about the biscuits, and governor can tell us how much is his budget when it comes to those biscuits and teas. So there are a lot of wastages that are there. So once we eliminate those wastages, we should increase the salaries of the civil servants, so that in terms of welfare, we can improve their welfare. But this increment, to me, it is totally negligible.
Yes, it's something positive nonetheless. But we can now probably move on to the issue of doctors, because it's related to this. Doctors' salaries, they've even actually discussed removing doctors from this pay structure, because they are civil servants as well, but now moving them to a different one, because this one would also cover doctors, the striking doctors as well, those employed by the national government. But something happened yesterday. The Senate actually dismissed that CBA by doctors and said it is illegal because it did not involve the county government.
Yes.
At the same time, the appeals court refused to order to block the sentencing of these union officials come Friday, because they suspended sentence for 1 month for contempt of court. The appeals court refused to order a block to that. Do you see, because I know you sit in the COG, do you see any resolution anytime soon? Because now the doctors look cornered. Probably that's where you wanted them to be.
We didn't want them there. We really empathize. They work under very difficult circumstances. But what we are saying is that, like I've said, the CBA that was in contention, I actually agree with the Senate, because if you look at the people that signed, most of them were not there. I mean, they are not there. And the county governments had not, health was devolved. And given that health was devolved, I think we needed to play a key role in terms of what was going to be agreed upon. We are saying that we know we have to be very realistic, because if you are demanding a 300% increment, then again this money must come from somewhere, and it will then affect the entire public service, because if you give a 300% increment to the doctors, then the next cadre, those in agriculture are going to come up, those in other departments are going to come up, and it can easily overstretch the economy. So I think it's good to sit down and be realistic, and I think it's the highest time that we sat down. People softened their hard stance. People became realistic about the demands that they are making. We all appreciate what they go through, but it's good to be realistic in the demands that you make. And
I'm assuming this new pay structure by the SRC covers the doctors as well. That means you'll have to pay them according to this new structure here.
Yes, because the SRC covers the entire public service, both at the national level and the county level. And that's why we're talking about what Chris is talking about, harmonization of salaries. It's important, so that somebody, say in one ministry, it does not have an advantage over the other, because they go to the same university, they go to the same trainings, and sometimes you find that the disparities are so glaring, and that is why these strikes and arguments come up. So if the harmonization is properly handled, then you find that it will reduce the arguments that come about thereafter.
Yes, the other issues about lecturers as well. They've been demanding better pay. They are public servants as well. They should be falling under this.
Yeah, that's true. But I want to point out something critical when it comes to job evaluation. Because when you do job evaluation, you're trying to grade jobs. And some of the things you look at, you are looking at the level of training and the risk associated with it, the circumstance under which a particular worker subjects himself to. When you look at the doctors, when you go to university, the number of years the doctors take at the university is longer.
Yes.
And looking at the risk that they are subjected to in terms of their day-to-day. So they consider that. So mind that you've gone to university, all of you have degrees, but a doctor looking at the training, the length, the risk, the conditionalities that are subjected to, obviously those factors are considered when it comes to job evaluation, and that's why their salaries they ought to be higher. Just the same way when it comes to the people who work in the judiciary, because of the decisions they make, the magistrates and all that, you find their salaries a little bit higher as compared to others. And when it comes to job evaluation, those factors are normally put into consideration. Now, coming to the lecturers, for instance, for you to be a lecturer, you can't be a lecturer when you have only one level of the degree. So you have to go higher.
Yes.
So in terms of remuneration, when it comes to job evaluation, they also consider such issues. But in this country, you find that the lecturers are really suffering. The core business of a university is to teach and to do research. So you find that the universities are not well funded. Some of them are subjecting themselves into the income generating activities so that they don't rely heavily on the exchequer. And we've seen some of the proposals that maybe you need to have a lecturer's service commission, the way the TSC is, so that a commission specifically to look into the issues to do the lecturers. So this is also about the issues of the CBA, and these strikes have been there since time immemorial. We have been having the teachers, the lecturers, the doctors, and because of the lack of the remuneration policy, and now that SRC is in place, I think they should look into these issues of the job evaluations so that they can be able to grade the lecturers accordingly.
Do you think this new grading and this new salary structure will actually help reduce the number of strikes that we are seeing? Because I don't see doctors agreeing to this. They are demanding a 300% increase. Lecturers are demanding more. Whatever is given here, I'm sure, is not that much.
You know, maybe something before Governor speaks. You know, CBA is a collective bargaining agreement. Where you've gone and negotiated and you've looked at all the circumstances in terms of sustainability. So it will be responsible for the government to go into a negotiated agreement, because you must look at all the factors, and sustainability here is very critical. So for instance, to me it was very responsible for the Senate under the chairmanship of Dr. Mashage to come and say this was an illegality, just because that the negotiations were done and yet you didn't have the governors. In government, he was working in government, it's something called succession. If President Mwai Kibaki, maybe in the international conventions, had signed a treaty, it is the incoming president is obligated to do that. And in this case, we can't say the national government is running away from this issue, because the national government is still there. And when you talk about the CBA, it was done at the national level. So there's no way you can have a doctor maybe in Nyeri being paid maybe different to a doctor in, let's say, in Bungoma. And that's why that harmonized job evaluation is being done. Maybe anything that might come extra, let's say hardship conditions, as a doctor in Northeastern, maybe you don't have time to do, those ones can be looked into. But for Mashake to have said this, why I'm differing with him, because this CBA was signed by a legitimate government. The PS, whoever was there, governor here has been a PS. So maybe what they should have done, they should have called maybe the representatives of the doctors' union, look at the issues. Maybe they don't have money at the moment to say maybe give us another 1 year or 2 years, maybe through corruption. We've known money has been lost at the Ministry of Health. So if that was the case, so that they can also be able to understand and suspend maybe within a year or two. And even the judge, I was very shocked, that suspended a sentence. You know, you can't make people work under duress. And the doctors have made it clear that we better go to committee as opposed to calling off the strike.
But Mheshimiwa, you know, you cannot... we cannot assume the judge and the chairman of the health committee, Machage, are fools. These are very brilliant people in their own right. So I think for them to have made that judgment, there's something they are communicating. Then let us sit down and reason together. And we're saying that the devolved governments were just coming in place. We are now in place. We also have a chair of the health committee of the COG. And we're saying that we are also concerned, we empathize. The doctors are our brothers, they are our sisters, they are our fathers. They are, you know, we live together, we are working together. Why don't we sit down, become realistic, soften our hard stance, reduce activism, and let us then address this thing in a sober way. Otherwise, people are going to continue suffering as we maintain our...
Because the strike has actually entered its second month right now. It's, I think, 60th day today. 60th day today. And what is facing the union officials is contempt of court. It's not even really about the strike. It's contempt of court. They were ordered to do something. They failed to do so. And that is actually a crime. And in according to Kenyan law, you're supposed to be punished.
What is the contempt of court? The contempt of court here, they want to call off the strike. I don't think that, to me, as far as I'm concerned, it was not fair for that judge to have issued that, because you can't put people under duress. They should give time these people to go back to the negotiating table so that they'll be able to agree.
Well, the doctors had indicated that they would be moving to the National Assembly or Parliament as it is to actually seek mediation. That is what happened yesterday. The Senate says that they should actually, nothing stops them from writing a new document after dismissing the old one, writing a new document and getting it signed. Anyway, let's now take a short break. We'll be back to discuss, and Governor, I'll give you an opportunity to say your point when we come back, because we need to move on and discuss a lot more. Power Breakfast takes a break.
You've always been in love with her, am I right? Do you think I haven't noticed the way you look at her?
It was you! You dared to dishonor my daughter! This is unforgivable!
No, Mr. Fernando.
I never asked you to take me in to lie to my father, much less to protect me and to assume the responsibility of a child that's not even yours.
Amelia, it's because I have put up with you. Because I love you. Because I do love you.
Stop!
No!
This lie cannot be hidden any longer.
I'm the only heiress left here. No, Mariana. You seem to forget your sister Amelia is still alive. And she also has a daughter. Granddaughter.
I'm like this because you turned your back on me. I am Luisa Fernanda Perez.
Road to Destiny. Only on Citizen Television.
I have wonderful news for you.
Yes, dear. Tell me.
They decided to review my case. The favorite daughter together with a son of your worst enemy. Mother.
Why are you with the son of Gomez Luna?
I want you to explain to me right now what this is all about.
Eric continues to see Montserrat.